What is up, Doobsters or Doobie Gang? That is your new name. Today, we've moved locations in front of the glorious Ninja Turtle wall that is ever growing, and that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to be ranking my top 10 TMNT properties, as in everything ever made. I'm going to go 10 to 1, my favorites. This whole video is to brew up discussion in the comments, get your guys' feedback, and let me know what is your guys' favorite TMNT things that have ever been made. So starting off, I just want to clarify what this list is going to be. So before you watch the whole video and we're like, why is this guy picking that? You know what I'm talking about. It's going to be the movies, the TV shows, and or anything comic book related, because all three of those things are just as much about Ninja Turtles as anything. So that is the three main courses of things I'm going to be choosing from. And before we get started, let me know if you agree or disagree at the end of the video with my picks. All right, and then one more thing I want to say. There's a couple select things that I left off of this list. Probably going to make some people mad, but that's okay, because this is all an opinionated video, and that's what these are for. And you got to remember, younger people that have grown up with the late 2000s to 2020 version of the Turtles probably like some of the newer stuff better.
Here, Ninja, Mutant, Turtle, teenagers.
Doesn't mean the old stuff's not good. So remember that as we're going through this whole video. All right, starting off at number 10, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the third movie. So this is the third movie in the original trilogy. As a kid, I really liked this because, you know, they were going in time, they were samurai, there was horses and fights and...
Here, hold these. Thank you.
all this kind of stuff. But now looking back on it, realizing how good the other two first original ones are, I don't like this one very much. The only reason I have it at 10 is because it's nostalgic for me. The Turtles are pretty hideous, if you ask me. But that doesn't mean that it's not still fun. When I sit down to watch the original trilogy, I more times than not leave this one out nowadays. But when I was a kid, this one was heavy in the rotation. Alright, so number 9 is something that I haven't watched a lot of, but I respect it because I did grow up with it, even though I didn't watch it very much, which is the 2003 cartoon. The main reason I put this on here is for the design of the Turtles and a lot of the designs of the show and how it can carry, you know, a little bit of seriousness to it and stuff for a cartoon. The downside, I really don't like the voice actors.
I hate watching the news. It's all bad.
From the little bit of it I watched, as a kid, I always chose other Turtle versions over this because I didn't really like the voice actors, and that still stands to this day. I respect this show, but that's why it's at 9 for me, out of respect, but I wouldn't put it any higher. All right, at number 8, we got our first comic book entry. And you may be thinking this is going to be the old original Mirage comics. But no, those are amazing. They started it all. But this is a personal list of things I like. And I'm picking the IDW comics. Over the last 2 months, I'm on the 4th volume. And they're 400-page comic books with 30 issues in every one. They are awesome. The way they balance seriousness and funny and the Turtles and everything is really cool. They deliver a new type of origin story, which is fun to read if you get tired of the rinse and repeat of a lot of the mid-2000s stuff, in my opinion. I like that it's more centered around adults. Adults can read it. So when I want to get my more mature Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fix, I just go ahead and read those, and that's why I had to put it on the list. Because like I said, it's an opinionated list, and this is what I'm into. All right, number 7. Probably gonna start some controversy with this one. I have 2014, the Michael Bay Turtles, the first one. Now, a lot of people don't even like this or the 2016 Michael Bay Turtles.
Just a mask. See? Don't freak out. Right?
And you may ask oh, why do you have this one on there? So a lot of people, if they pick any, they like the second one, because this is nostalgic for me in a way that it was my first real theater experience with Turtles. You know, kids back in the day got to go watch the original trilogy in theaters, and that's probably why they love it to this day. Some kids got to go watch the TMNT movie from 2007, which is not on this list, spoiler. But this was my first theater experience, and I did it with my cousins who also love Ninja Turtles. And that is probably the sole reason, because after we watched it in theaters, every time I would go to my cousin's house, we would watch this. So it's gained a kind of nostalgic place for me. Not that like much because of how meh I think it is nowadays. The main gripe with this now is I hate how the Turtles look, and I hate Johnny Knoxville as Leonardo. Other than that, I think it is dope seeing a CG live action version. I just wish they would have done it more similar to the original trilogy designs. But that's probably my only gripe. All right, at number 6, we're back to TV shows, and we got nothing more than the OG itself, the 1980s cartoon. Now, I used to watch this on my dad's computer. I would watch clips of it on YouTube if you couldn't get the full episodes, because at the time, streaming services weren't around when I was like 5 or 6. So I grew up with this. As you can see, I have a poster in the back of that, and I have some Funkos of the original 80s show. And you know, I haven't watched all of it, but a lot of it I remember as a kid just being very fun, and that's what introduced me to it. And I have those memories of watching it, you know, as a young kid. After I got my first kind of taste of the Turtles with something else on this list, then I started watching this, because, you know, a movie can't entertain a kid for so long. You kind of need a good TV show in there. And this one did the trick for me. And it's an OG. You can't hate it. It's kind of what started it all. It literally started it all, as in for the toys and the popularity. The comic started it all. But yeah, that is why that's number 6. Okay, officially cracking the top 5. At number 5, we have the highest rated TV show on this list. Another controversial take, hot take, but it is what I grew up with the most. TMNT 2012. So TMNT 2012 has the most special place in my heart out of all of the Turtles TV shows, because I would watch this every single day of my life when I was about 8 to 15 to this day. I don't watch it every day now, but I still watch it. And back in the day, you know, this was constantly on the rotation at the grandma's house. I love how the Turtles are designed in this. It might be because this is what I grew up with, is having them look like this, but I don't know what it is about it. I just really like the animation. I love the voice actors, other than when they change Leo at the end of season 2. That always really sits weird with me. I love the storylines in it. A lot of the episodes can be filler sometimes. There's like a couple sprinkled here and there. Those ones aren't the best. But as for how they handle the Shredder and the story as a whole and the characters, I really love it. And this is probably one of my favorite versions of Splinter, I'm not gonna lie. I always looked up to this version of Splinter when I was like 10. Like I said, controversial take, but it's my list. So okay, at number 4, we have TMNT Secret of the Ooze. So this is the second movie in the Turtles original trilogy, and this one has the more silly aspects compared to the first. But still keeps the good looks to it, unlike the third one. I probably watched this at least twice a week on my old DVD player or VCR. This was from my mom and dad's era, and they would constantly, you know, have me watch this because they liked it, and it made me love it. And now growing up watching it, it is pure nostalgia, because it is goofier than the first one, but that's why I like it, because, you know, it's a different vibe, and it's a good vibe still. I love how the Turtles look. I don't like that they didn't have Casey Jones in it. That's the one gripe. Or if I have another gripe, they don't use the weapons, but like I said, it's more of a funny movie, comedy kind of version of them, and I love the comedy versions of the Turtles. I'm a pretty comedic lover myself, so whether it's serious or comedic, I love it both. The best is when there's a little bit of both, but either way I like it, and that's why I like this, because I like all of it. And I like Kino. I just wish they would have kept Casey Jones in it, and yeah. All right, breaking into the top 3. At number 3, we have the best Turtles comic book ever, in my opinion, The Last Ronin. As you can see by that top shelf, I have an entire Last Ronin shelf. To say that this isn't the most badass Turtles thing ever is, you're completely out of your mind if you don't think that. I think just like the complete difference of the storyline in this compared to anything else Turtles related ever is what makes it awesome. The violence in it, it's literally an adult version of the Turtles, or Turtle, I guess you could say. And I absolutely love it. That's probably my favorite thing to collect, just because like there's not a lot of it. You know, they have the comics, they have a couple Funkos, a couple figures, so that's about it. I almost have everything. I have a couple more things coming in the mail right now, but that's, you know, if you haven't read it, I'm not going to spoil too much of it, because it is a very, like, if you spoil it, then it's kind of, would ruin it for some people, but it is the most epic comic I've ever read, and probably that book right there is probably the most epic thing I've ever read. I would highly recommend it, and that's why I had to put it at 3, because, you know, whether or not it's a comic book, it is awesome and it needs to be on this list. All right, and at number 2, I don't know if it's recency bias, but I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Now, this is the newest entry into the Turtles universe, but it just came out today on August 2nd, and I saw an early access of it last Saturday, and I saw it again in 3D the other day, and I'm going to see it again tomorrow. So that is 3 times in the first week that I'm going to watch this movie, and I can say that it's not just one of the one take, one time, oh my god reactions that I put this on here. I have seen it twice. I did see it in 3D, so that upped my take I'm about to explain on the visual part. And seeing it the 3rd time, I'm probably going to catch even more stuff that would make me love it even more. But I think it's firmly at number 2 for now until, you know, something changes my mind. I have most of all the figures. I have 2 giant turtles up there. I have all of the unboxed ones right here. This is just awesome. The way they're voiced by actual teenagers is awesome. Go check out my review on it if you haven't. I just love this. It's so, like, it's such a fresh take on them that, you know, I just applaud Seth Rogen for, and it's awesome, and I love it, and, you know, I couldn't have asked for something cooler and funnier, and, you know, it is a little bit goofy as a movie, but I'm glad it is, because it's their origin story, and it's them at their youngest point, and I think they're only gonna, like, evolve and grow into more battle-hardened versions of themselves when they face more adversity, and I think the way they started off this newer reboot franchise is the perfect way to do it. I'm excited to see what the future holds for them. All right, and at number 1, you guys probably could guess what it is. It is the OG TMNT 1990 movie. Now, this movie is probably my favorite movie ever made out of anything, not just Ninja Turtles. The amount of times I've watched this is probably not healthy. As a kid, I would watch this at least 3 or 4 times a week. It was my favorite movie to watch before bed, you know, when it's all dark, and it's just, I just love this movie. Now that I'm older, I can really appreciate the mature tones of it compared to everything released today. Like I said, Mutant Mayhem is the sillier side, which I can appreciate. This is the best version of the adult-voiced, more adult-ish Turtles that I could put on here. I love each and every one of the characters. This is what made me fall in love with Leonardo, with my favorite turtle, and even Michelangelo, and all of them. The visuals on this are crazy, as in like how they display New York in the sewers. The turtle costumes still stand out to this day compared to even the second movie, really. They're a little bit worse in the second one, but they just are still crazy good in this one. There's not a lot to say about it because it's just the OG classic. You know, I'm sure a lot of people have it in their top 2. And if you don't have it in your top 3 at least, then, you know, there's something wrong. Or you're, you know, 5 years old. I just think that this is unbeatable as of now. I think Mutant Mayhem is the closest thing that I've personally ever read, watched, TMNT that could come close to it, and that's just because it is such a fresh take, and I think how it's supposed to be done. TMNT 1990 will always be my GOAT movie for now. So that is my top 10 TMNT list on a vast variety of things released. Let me know in the comment section below if you agreed or disagreed with anything that I said. You probably disagreed with a lot, but then if you disagree, you can tell me what your favorites are, and I might disagree with some of them. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, friend.